Hello and welcome to A Spirited Debate. I'm Lauren Green. Well, the creation story and other parts of the Bible's book of Genesis are some of the most hotly debated pages, even among believing Christians and Jews who share the book. A new film that's getting a lot of attention explores the controversy, featuring over a dozen scientists and scholars explaining how the world intersects with Genesis. The movie is called Is Genesis History? And it's playing at selected theaters nationwide. Dr. Del Tackett is the host, and he joins me now with more. Welcome, Dr. Tackett.
Hey, it's great to be with you, Lauren. Thank you.
Well, what's very interesting about this movie, like, how did it really come about?
Well, the real genesis, if you'll allow me to say that pun, the real genesis occurred when the director, Thomas Purifoy, was talking with his daughter, a 10-year-old daughter. She was asking questions. And, of course, she's in the middle of what a lot of people are today, what appears to be sometimes a conflict with what she's being told in the science world and what she's reading in the Bible. And he thought, you know what, I don't have a good way to really respond to that. And that's when he and I began to talk, and that's what ended up in this film.
Well, and so you've really looked at the science behind a lot of the things in Genesis. What did you find?
Well, what we found is that when we interviewed scientists from all these different areas of science, we were finding that they have evidence, and they believe they have evidence, that supports the historical reading of Genesis, which ends up taking us from the standard deep time perspective of the universe and the earth and evolution and so forth, to the real possibility that the Bible has got its history correct in Genesis 1 through 11 as well.
And you're talking about when Genesis has its history correct, you're talking about that the creation in 6 days as opposed to 13 billion years?
Yes, we're talking about the creation narrative that includes not just the days that are laid out there in which God created, but also the other events, concerning Adam and Eve, the fall, the flood, and so forth.
So this is incredibly controversial, and obviously we can't go through every story in Genesis because it would just take too long, but what were some of the most controversial, most surprising things that really was uncovered in the documentary?
Well, I think some of the most surprising things that people will see is when we open up in a canyon up in the state of Washington, and we look at the canyon, we see all the layers in the sides of the canyon, standing on the base of that canyon with a little creek running through. And it looks like every other canyon in the world. It looks just as old as we've been told. And yet that canyon is younger than I am. It's the result of those horrible explosions that occurred in Mount St. Helens. So I think it helps people understand that we have all the evidence from that event that helps us understand that complex geology was laid down rapidly. Mm-hmm. And so those are the things we were looking at. And the soft dinosaur tissue, for example. We went to the lab in Arizona, looked at that soft dinosaur tissue. And you have to ask the question, how in the world can that tissue still be viable if, in fact, those dinosaurs were fossilized 60 to 80 million years ago?
You know, a lot of the things you're talking about seem very similar to what they unearthed in the Creation Museum, which has gotten a lot of criticism from some scientists. Did you work with the Creation Museum, or did you work independently, gathering your own scientists and experts?
Well, it's true that when we went and we looked at these scientists, we were looking for that evidence. And so we were gathering together those scientists who believe that evidence is pointing to it, and that's what we were showing people in the film. Okay,
I want to thank you so much. The Fathom events, I think the last showing is tomorrow, March 7th. People can check out more information. They can check out isgenesishistory.com. Dr. Del Tackett, thank you so much for being on A Spirited Debate.
Hey, my pleasure, Lauren. Thank you.
And thank you for watching A Spirited Debate.